U.S. COVID hospitalizations surpassing a record 125,000. We also saw a record number of deaths reported in a single day yesterday, 3,744 COVID deaths, according to Johns Hopkins University. This all comes as more cases of that fast-spreading variant of the virus emerges in parts of this country. Joining us now, former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He's a CNBC contributor, sits on the boards of Pfizer and Illumina. Dr. Gottlieb, good to have you. Your tweet today where you say we have this narrow window or had this narrow window to deploy the vaccine rapidly enough to alter the present trajectory of death and disease in January. What's gone wrong? Whose fault is it? The states, the federal government, the companies? What's happening?
Well, look, the federal government made a decision to stockpile 55% of the doses. They wanted to reserve the second dose for everyone who received the first dose and not use the supply that became available in January to suffice for providing those second doses that people were going to need after getting the first dose. And then they made a decision to stockpile an additional about 5% for what they're calling a safety stock. And so they deployed about 45% of the vaccines that were available. And now we're not able to deliver that 45%. We had a narrow window of opportunity. It's not completely closed right now to use the vaccine as a tool to try to affect the current epidemic. This epidemic right now, the epidemic wave we're in, is going to play out over the next 4 to 6 weeks. The vaccine we know is partially protective after the first dose. We don't know the full magnitude of that benefit, but there is evidence that there is some benefit after a first dose. So if you can get more doses in people's arms, especially vulnerable individuals, you can start to reduce the death and disease of the current wave. And I don't think that there is a sense that we can use it in that way, or not a sense of urgency, not enough urgency to try to get it deployed rapidly to have that kind of an effect.
So just to be clear, you're calling on Operation Warp Speed to do more, to stockpile more and get it out faster?
Well, look, I would be trying to get out more vaccine right now into people's arms to try to affect the current wave, especially vulnerable individuals. A lot of people are going to get infected between now and the end of January, and a lot more people are going to die. If you look at what's happening in the nursing homes right now, about 60,000 people a week in nursing homes are becoming infected with COVID. And we know about 20% of them are going to succumb to the infection. That's the rate of death in the nursing homes right now. And so if we could have gotten the nursing homes vaccinated more quickly, that would have had an impact. Right now, we still haven't vaccinated all the nursing homes, and some nursing homes just got started this week. So I think we need a sense of urgency about this. And the new variant, I think, adds to that risk, because if we don't get control of this epidemic wave more quickly, and the vaccine is a tool to do that, it creates more opportunity for this new variant to start spreading more widely. And if the new variant does get more of a foothold in the United States than it already has, that can extend out the length of the current epidemic wave that we're experiencing right now.
Dr. Gottlieb, the UK seems to think they could be back to normal by April, and a number of educated voices have echoed that prediction over the last week or so. How is that possible with the US seemingly so far behind its aim for vaccinations, and what are the possibilities to close that gap?
Well, look, I think prevalence is going to decline sharply as we head into the spring and the summer. I think the prevalence of this infection this summer is going to be extremely low, and we will be back to some semblance of normal. I think the risk is really to the fall and the winter, and it's important to make sure that we have the vaccine widely deployed to reduce the risk next fall and winter. I'm really talking about what's going to happen over the next 4 to 6 weeks when we're going to experience a really difficult month. The hardest month of this epidemic, of the entire epidemic, is going to be January. It's going to be the next 30 days. And we need to deploy all of our tools effectively. Look at the antibody drugs that we're not deploying as well. They're sitting on the shelf. The one therapy proven to reduce the risk of hospitalization from COVID, and it's collecting on shelves.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.